Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Track Talk, your connection coast to coast and beyond in all the latest news, developments, stake race analysis, and interviews inside the world of thoroughbred horse racing. From California to New York, Florida, and Kentucky, we have you covered. It's post time, live from San Diego. It's Track Talk.
And we welcome you from a sunny Southern California. Welcome aboard. Saturday morning, ready to go around the country, California, Kentucky, Florida, New York. We'll fill you in where all the action is. Welcome to Track Talk. I'm Felix Taverna, and we are pretty excited about what's going to transpire here in the next 83 days because the countdown to the Kentucky Derby is 83 days, and the countdown is brought to you by Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. Quality, integrity, respect, one of the best horse racing partnerships you'll find anywhere across this land. And on this Saturday morning, we have a lot to talk about, Tommy D, because, my friends, the Varieties, have Independence Hall running into Sam Davis. We've been keeping our eye open to Independence Hall after he blitzed that field in the Nashua back at Aqueduct and then came right back with a stunning victory in the Jerome. But 83 days until the first Saturday in May. Welcome aboard, Tommy D.
Yeah, good morning. Happy Saturday. Unbelievable. The road to the Derby is always a good one to watch, Felix. As you said, Sam Davis is today. Last week, we had the Holy Bull, the Withers, Robert B. Lewis. We're getting close. We got those 10 points, 4 points, 2 points, 1 point. Next week will be the first one where the points get kicked up. That's the Risen Star, but we can't miss the Sam F. Davis. As you said, Independence Hall. This horse has won by 4+ lengths in all 3 starts. This horse is impressive by constitution. I know Zap likes that. As you said, Eclipse and our good friends, the Varieties, are the owners there. This horse looks to be the one to beat. Going 2 turns today will be the test, but Independence Hall, excited to see this one run today, Felix.
I am as well. Let's go to Santa Anita, check in with Larry Zapp. Zapper, top of the morning. How's everything up there at the Great Race Place?
Felix, beautiful, sunny, cool morning. We're going to have a beautiful day of racing. Obviously, we got the Las Virgenes here, which I'm a big part of, with Venetian Harbor, 2 to 5 on the morning line. Some pretty good betting races, including the Thunder Road. Finally have a full-scale turf race, stake quality that is you can really sink your teeth into. And then, obviously, at Tampa Bay Downs, I heard you guys talking about the Sam Davis and a bunch of, I think there's 4 stakes over there. It's the road to the Triple Crown via Tampa Bay today. Gulfstream's got a turf stake. Oaklawn's been off and running, full field. All over the country, and the weather's much better today. Aqueduct canceled yesterday. We will be running at Aqueduct today. So coast to coast, and we're sitting at Santa Anita, the most beautiful racetrack in America on a most beautiful morning. It's going to be a great day of racing.
I agree with you. Let's bring our special guest onto the broadcast. He's the co-founder, CEO of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, and he is none other than Aron Wellman. And Aron, good morning, and how are you on this Saturday?
I'm good, Felix. Thanks for having me on. How are you guys?
Hey, the road to the Kentucky Derby. You're going to put your company behind the road, Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, and today, wow. Around the country, I believe you have 9 horses running across the country or around the country today, Aron?
Yeah, the exact number today is 7. We had a couple yesterday and 1 in tomorrow, so it's a big weekend for our partners and just hoping that we can execute on the playing field.
8 short years ago, you created Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. You were an assistant, a vice president to Barry Irwin, Team Valor. You learned this game from an early age. I think you mostly accredit it to your father taking you to the track at an early age because it sunk right in immediately.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The only tried and true method to create horse fans, owners, breeders, gamblers, what have you is nepotism. That's the one thing we know works, is having a family member bring you to the track at an early age. And I was fortunate enough to have my parents, Mike and Corey Wellman, both very active and involved in thoroughbred horse racing community in Southern California. That's definitely where I caught the bug. So they're guilty as charged on that front, and was very fortunate to be surrounded by some really influential mentors growing up around Southern California, the backside in the jocks room, and just really lucky to make my way to where I am today, and just feel very fortunate for the people who've supported me along the way, for sure.
Well, you've done a heck of a job, my friend. Let me ask you this, if I may. How many horses do you have in your partnership, and how many are currently running at the present time?
We've got about 100 horses under management. I would say about 65 to 70 of those are in active training at the moment. That would include our batch of 2-year-olds that have just turned 2 that are getting broken and trained, most of them down in Ocala, Florida. We've tried to create in the last couple of years, as the company has grown and our partners have gotten more sophisticated with their appetite, we've also begun to create a broodmare band, particularly with some select fillies from our stable that we've retained. So there's a little breeding operation that's getting off the ground as well. And we do a little bit of pinhooking too. So we try to diversify as much as possible, provide our partners with as much variety and flavor as we can to expose them to all the different segments of the game and try to have some success along the way.
Most people in your field doing what you do have a mentor, and you have always given credit to the great riding jockey from behind, the closer, the best that ever had a clock in his head besides Bill Shoemaker, the great Eddie D. You established a relationship with Eddie D, and Eddie D taught you the ropes of what to look for at some of these sales. Am I correct in assuming that?
You're absolutely right. Actually, you named the two main guys in my youth growing up. There would be too many to name individually, but Eddie D was a very close family friend of my parents and me by by association, and he and Bill Shoemaker were kind enough to take me under their collective wing from a very young age. And what people don't really know about Eddie is he wasn't just an incredible jockey and horseman, but he was and continues to be an incredible eye for equine talent as well. And when I was in my early teens and Eddie was still riding, we would go back to the September sale in Keeneland, and I had no money to spend, but I certainly had a desire to learn what it took to try to identify these horses from a young age. And Eddie was the ultimate mentor, not just from a horsemanship perspective, but also in terms of how to handle your business, try to do so with integrity and class, and also from a composure standpoint. As we all know, he was as composed and poised as there ever was a jockey on the back of a horse, but he applies that to all components of his life. And we all know we could get carried away a little bit when you like a horse in the auction ring, but he and Shu always told me, if you lose your head, your ass goes with it. So those are lessons that I never forgot.
Yeah, without any question about that. We are joined with Aron Wellman. He's the CEO and founder of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. A big day today. You know, I was talking to a professional poker friend of mine who is playing on the circuit and playing some big-time games, and I was sharing with him yesterday over coffee, and we were sharing some dialogue, and he said it's a process that he has brought into his game of reflecting on different situations and different hands and what have you to get to where he is today. I'm going to pose the same question to you. When you started and where you are, the process, was it everything you thought it was going to be? Was it an extreme challenge, or what was the high and what was the low?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
To tackle it as best as I can.
Maybe we need to do a podcast on that question alone. So let me go ahead and scratch that question. Let's get to the current right now. Independence Hall a colt that you, in partnership with Twin Creek, as well as my friends Robert and Kathleen Verratti, are going gangbusters, going for your fourth in a row. You had a number of options of where to go. We had Bob Verratti on this radio program a couple weeks back, talking about his excitement of the son of Constitution, Independence Hall. He said that perhaps the fairgrounds, the Risen Star, might have been consideration staying down there for the Louisiana Derby, whatever the case. But as the managing partner that you are of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, you decided that the Southern Florida route would be the route that you would take, and you would ship to Tampa Bay, which you are there today. Tell us about the colt and what's your thoughts about the race.
Sure. I've been very fortunate to be down this path several times in the last 10, 12 years, first with my association with Team Valor and being able to get the Kentucky Derby won with Animal Kingdom in 2011, and a few times since we launched Eclipse shortly thereafter, including a third with Danza. And, of course, we won the Belmont Stakes a couple of years ago with Tappert. So we've been down this path before, and you try to appreciate your successes, but you also try to do even more to learn from your mistakes along the way. And we're trying to apply that notion to Independence Hall. It's really been a team effort. And quite frankly, at the helm is Michael Trombetta. And when you've got a horseman with his type of experience, you really lean heavily upon him. And he has done just an absolutely surgical job developing this horse to this point. So a lot of the discussion as to where we're going to go and when includes Michael. And, of course, the Verrattis are involved, and they're just pure class, as well as Twin Creeks, who's been down this road before and actually campaigned Constitution, that's Colt's sire. So it's a real fine line between having your horse fit, ready, grizzled, battle-tested, and earn the points to qualify for the Derby, and at the same time show up on the first Saturday in May with as much gas in the tank as you possibly can. So that's a really hard line to walk. Of course, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you've got the horse to be able to do it. And that's at the fore of our mind with every decision that we make. It's all about the horse. And, there's some serendipity involved in some decisions that aren't necessarily yours to make. I mean, when we bought this horse with the Verrattis after he broke his maiden at Parks, our goal was to really take a conservative path, and he was entered originally in an allowance race at Laurel in late October, and there was a water main that broke the day of the race. So we had to pivot to the Nashua. We never would have gone to the Nashua if it weren't for that water pipe bursting the day of that allowance race at Laurel. So there's some things that are beyond your control. Everybody knows what he did in the Nashua, and from there, we knew we had a really special individual on our hands. So it was really about trying to do our best not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but at the same time, trying to work your way backwards from the first Saturday in May. The Jerome was stop number one. He took care of business there, and that really put us in a position to have all options on the table. We wanted to be at Tampa for the winter. We think it's a great surface. It's a quiet environment. It's a healthy environment for this horse to be in. And for this particular race, we thought being able to walk him right out of his own stall over to the paddock and in the starting gate would be the most beneficial for his development. This is no cakewalk. There are some serious colts in the lineup, so he's going to have to bring his A game to get it done again. We feel good about it going in, and hopefully it's another useful step that can propel him forward on this all-important path.
Well said. Tommy D, we were just talking about athletes. We were talking about college and March Madness basketball coming up. We were talking about Maryland, Penn State, Florida State earlier this morning about teams that have athletes. Aron Wellman, CEO, founder of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, joining us, and he talked about it's about the horse. It's about the athlete. You take it away for Mr. Wellman.
Yeah, Aron, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on a lot of success in the business. A couple quick questions for you. I had, my question would be for number 4, Independence Hall today in the Sam Davis. Going the 2 turns, going the distance, is that going to be an issue, or is that a concern of yours?
We don't think so at all. We think this horse has no distance limitations. He's got a 7/8 race under his belt and 2 one-turn miles. We think that he's hopefully only going to get better around 2 turns and with added distance, and we'll find out soon enough. It's up to him to prove us right at this point. But the simple answer to your question is no. We've been really anxious to get him around 2 turns.
That's great to hear. I have a couple other questions about a horse in the Suncoast. Blame Debbie. This horse finished third in the Grade 2 Aqueduct, going a mile and 1/8 today, going a mile. Do you have any insight on this horse, number 7, Blame Debbie in the Suncoast?
Yeah, she's a filly that we bought privately out of a maiden win at Keeneland. And in her first race for us, after we transferred it over to Graham Motion, she was a really gritty third in the Demoiselle on a tough track that day at Aqueduct, going a mile and 1/8. I thought it was a strong race. It really validated her quality off just the maiden win. We've given her a lot of time in between her races, hoping that maybe she might be a filly that if she gets good in the next couple months could be thinking about the Kentucky Oaks. So we're trying to put her in a position to accomplish that mission. I really like the setup today. She's drawn outside of what looks to be a lot of speed down low. It's a tough field. It came up a little bit tougher than expected. We won this race last year with a really nice filly called Point of Honor, who ended up winning the Black-Eyed Susan after this race and was multiple Grade 1 placed at Saratoga over the summer. But this is a much tougher field this year, so we know we're going to have to bring a serious effort on the part of Blame Debbie. She's drawn a little bit outside of the speed, and with John Velasquez in the tack, he's going to call the right shots if he's got the horse underneath him, and we're hoping turning for home, she's right in the thick of it.
Yeah, Aaron, I love the spot here. I think you got a great chance. My last question would be coming in race 5. Today you have a 3-year-old filly, Gesture. This horse is a maiden special weight going first time. Nice local workouts. Do you have any insight on this one?
We like this filly. It's probably a filly that Larry had seen at the OBS sales as a 2-year-old in training. He doesn't miss much, and often we land on a lot of the same horses, which is why we've been able to partner up with Larry and his main man, Joe Siagua, over the years, which has been great. This filly has a lot of ability. The one thing that I would be a little bit concerned about in her debut is that in her gait works, her first step isn't explosive. She does have a quick second step, which puts her right into it, but she's drawn a little bit inside out of a big field, so she's going to have to come out of there running. And if she does, I think she's going to be hard to catch. And obviously having John Velasquez on her coming out of the gate should hopefully help her ability to spring out of there and put herself in position. But she is a filly that we like. We do hold her in relatively high regard, and hopefully she makes a good account of herself in her unveiling today.
Let's go up to Santa Anita. Zapper for Aron Wellman, CEO, founder of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. You are no strangers to one another. He just paid you a very, very nice compliment in regard to Gesture at some of these sales. Zapper, take it away for Aron Wellman.
Yeah, good morning, Aaron. And obviously, you got a big day in front of you. I mean, to have a horse like Independence Hall, and just talk about what went into your decision making. He broke his maiden on Pennsylvania Derby Day, and that's not necessarily the place that a lot of top horses always come from. We know Smarty Jones came out of Pennsylvania. But what went into the decision to obviously spend pretty good money to buy into this colt off for just one race, the 7/8 race at Parks?
Yeah, good question, Larry. It was really a visual and an instinctual play, which is something that we've been fortunate with in the past. When it comes to maiden races, 2-year-olds, early 3-year-olds, one of my jobs and actually really what I enjoy doing a lot as far as scouting is scouring the globe and trying to identify young horses who exhibit what I believe to be what I call blue sky potential early in their careers before the rest of the world hopefully catches on. I'm wrong a lot more than I'm right, but we've been lucky in the past jumping in on horses early in their careers, sometimes from obscure venues. One of the first plays we ever made as Eclipse was for a filly called In Lingerie, who broke her maiden in January of her 3-year-old year at Turfway Park, and she went on to become a Grade 1 winner and a franchise filly for us. So this is something that we do regularly. We participate, of course, in the yearling market at public auction, the 2-year-old and training sales, but we really do enjoy the private market, trying to pluck horses out of races. And this horse ran 7/8 first time as a 2-year-old, which is a difficult, demanding distance. He rated beautifully, and he showed an incredible turn of foot at a tough distance to do so on a very deep track there at Parks on the occasion. It looked like he had gears left to be able to call upon if need be, and he galloped out really well. This was just a really efficient, smooth, powerful mover by a sire that was indicating to us at that time that he was going to be serious, and he just keeps getting more and more serious. I'm talking about Constitution. The dam side, there was some speed influence, but she had already thrown a couple of really good horses, one being Black Onyx, and a little bit more depth down low in the second and third dams. So, it takes guts to fork over big bucks, early on in a horse's career before he's accomplished anything or there's any residual value established. But we felt good about it, and like I said, I'm wrong more than I'm right, but hopefully so far so good with this colt, and I'm hoping that we've just hit the tip of the iceberg and the best is yet to come.
Well, best of luck in this situation. Obviously, with the varieties, we're all rooting for you. And, it's just what he's done so far has been nothing short of brilliant, and even overcoming maybe his quirks in the paddock last time. Let's hope that today he's been well-schooled and we don't see that. But Gesture was one of the 2 or 3 horses I x-rayed at that Marchdale, and she was kind of a brilliant filly in that breeze, and you bought a nice filly, so I hope she goes on to some nice things for you. One other thing I wanted to ask you is, Josie Egler, like you mentioned, my main guy, we partnered up with you with Paved. We sold you the filly, and then we bought back in, and we obviously bought a Sky Mesa Calbred with you, Eagle in the Sky, for people who want to put down maybe a future Calbred superstar. At least that's the way we like to look at things. But when you partner up with, like people you partnered up with on Independence Hall and obviously with us, I mean, you made some good choices of some quality people, and it's just so much more fun to have, obviously, for everybody to go into that winner's circle together, like we did in the El Camino Real Derby up in San Francisco at Golden Gate Field. It seems like you really know people as well as you know horses. Explain like that part of the game, just getting people involved.
Yeah, and this goes back to the early part of our conversation as it relates to my parents, my upbringing, and the people that I had looking after me as mentors growing up. One of the main lessons you learn is you surround yourself with good people, and good things are going to happen to you. And that goes from, an integrity and a class perspective, moral values, as well as skill. You kind of try to find that healthy blend between being a good person and good at what you do. And that's what we try to do at Eclipse. We've been lucky to forge some incredible relationships with some fantastic people, outside partners, farms, big conglomerates, what have you. We really try to diversify as much as possible. And at the end of the day, the horses have to do the talking for us. There's no better advertisement for Eclipse than our horses carrying our colors across the finish line as winners in big races on Saturday afternoons throughout the year. So we've really allowed the horses to do the talking for us, and we've established an incredible foundation of partners that believe in our program, believe in our abilities, and put their faith and trust in us to treat them well, with transparency, be honest. Look, there's a lot more bad news that I have to dish out on a weekly basis than there is good. It's not easy to do. It doesn't feel good to do it, but our partners appreciate the candor and the honesty, and hopefully it keeps them coming back for more. I've considered myself a steward, an ambassador for the game since I was a young kid, bringing my friends out as much as possible, now trying to create new horse owners through Eclipse Thoroughbred partners, and it's incumbent upon all of us to try to do so. And we don't do a lot of advertising, but when Felix tapped me on the shoulder recently and he gave me his pitch, it wasn't about the exposure that Eclipse could get. It was really where it came from Felix and his heart and soul being in the racing game, particularly in Southern California, where we've had a really rough go of it the last year or so. He's trying to do his best to promote the sport in a positive light and bring it to people's attention the right way. And that's the kind of stuff we want to support. So hopefully it translates positively for everybody involved.
Yeah, we got to continue to upgrade this game and continue to do day by day, minute by minute work in sort of having these relationships. Tommy D, I was looked over your shoulder. You had another question you wanted to ask Aron.
Yeah, Aron, I just was wondering, how do you keep track of all the horses that you have in your stable? Like, how do you not get them mixed up? That's a lot of children you have.
It is, but they're all individuals. They're all my babies. Exactly. I'm very lucky to do what I love to do. I practiced law for 6.5 years as a litigator. That was not my passion, but as Larry will attest to, he knows all of the horses that he adds to his stable for his clients, and even probably knows just about every other horse on the racetrack in Southern California. So when this is what you do and this is what you pay attention to and it's what you live and breathe and sleep and eat, it's not hard. It really isn't. I don't attest to be a brain surgeon by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also my fiduciary obligation to be on top of it for my partners, know everything that's going on with every single horse in our stable, and treat them all as individuals. But it's an honor to be charged with the responsibility for these types of athletes and hopefully quality athletes that are assets for our partners and for our company. So I appreciate the question, but it comes easy because it's what I love to do.
Hey, what I want to know, Aron, is that question that gingerly was asked of you by Larry Zapp. You know, we did see some Jimmy Brown, some Earl Campbell, Franco Harris tendencies from Independence Hall in the Jerome last time in the saddling ring, and he was full of himself where it took three people to actually saddle him and control him. Has Michael Trombetta indicated that he's worked on him, he's schooled him, he's going to be in a little different frame of mind, or is he just that killer instinct type of colt?
Absolutely. You know, that episode and those antics before the Jerome at Aqueduct on New Year's Day was an eye-opening that we got to keep our guard up, and Michael has done an incredible job, and his assistant Sarah Schaefer and the groom have all really dedicated a lot of time and attention to schooling Independence Hall here at Tampa since he got here within the last month. We've taken him over before the races. We've taken him over during the races. So everything from a horsemanship perspective that can be done has been done in order to prepare. We're hoping, of course, that he doesn't pull those stunts today. But at the same time, he's a competitor. He's an athlete. He knows the difference between practice and game time. And, you know, we all watch professional sports. We watch these guys warming up for the Super Bowl and NBA players, and they're all feeling good. They got that swagger. They got their headphones in, wanting to get pumped up. This colt is no different. He wants to get out there on the racetrack and show what he's got. He just knows what it's all about. Now, if we can minimize those antics and keep him a little bit more poised and reserve that energy, of course, we're going to be much more comfortable going in, but we also want him to be him. And all that matters at the end of the day, of course, is that he performs come game time. And he's done that all 3 times. And we're not taking anything for granted, but we sure want to see him do it again today.
Well, let's make it 4 in a row today for Independence Hall. We'll be rooting from afar. We'll be watching the Sam Davis with a lot of vested interest on a number of different fronts. We appreciate your time, Aron Wellman, CEO, founder of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. Want to shout out to Bill Victor in Aiken, South Carolina, listening to our radio show. And Tommy down in Hallandale, ready for Gulfstream Park action. Aron, you have yourself a great day. I was just going to ask you, like, do you get butterflies on days like this?
Yeah, this is a special circumstance. We got a lot of action, but a colt like this, you never know when you're going to get your hands on another special prospect like this in this position. You don't take it for granted. You try to enjoy it, but it's impossible not to feel the anxious nerves, hitting your tummy throughout the day. But it's more because we want it so bad. I want it so bad for my partners, so bad for Mike Trombetta, and so bad for the horse to show what an impressive and brilliant individual he is. And that's really what it's all about. But these are the positions we want to be in. This is what it's all about. And just wishing everybody a lucky and safe day out on the track and at the betting windows today.
Without any question about that. And when you're in the winner's circle being interviewed after Independence Hall wins the Sam Davis, don't forget to shout out the Track Talk on WS Radio so the whole nation will know that we're here along with you. And have yourself a great day. Enjoy your day down in Tampa Bay.
Right back at you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Aron Wellman, CEO, founder of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, on the way to the Kentucky Derby. Pretty insightful interview there.
Yeah, great information. Running an excellent partnership. Holy cow, do they have a top barn?
Yep.
And man, 120 plus horses, or said somewhere around there, roughly.
Yep.
And unbelievable. And all to be all jacked up, especially when you have a talk of a Derby contender. Even though I know it's early, Felix, it's still early in the game.
Still 83 days.
And we know a lot could come in these 83 days.
Absolutely.
But, just to be thrown into that hat of a Derby contender, that's what we dream as a horse player, owner, a fan of the game.
Without any question. And, Zapper and Aron Wellman have a history. And I thought that was just quite remarkable that Aron Wellman just complimented Zapper for the work that he does. Because, see, Zapper's Google before Google. I mean, Zapper's on top of that breeding. I mean, years ago. There's some that, like Tommy, Johnny Law. Johnny Law, excuse me. I'm sorry about that. He has a great memory for breeding. Well, Zapper's been that way for 20 plus years, and he knows the fathers, the mothers, the grandparents, the family members, so to speak, of all. Zapper, he's a pretty impressive guy, that Aron Wellman.
Sure is. Class act all the way. And, he's got a good operation, because when we've hooked up with them, we're on our second horse with them as partners, we realize that they do their due diligence just like me and Joe Ciaglia do. So it was real easy for us to partner up. And like I said, we had a nice filly named Pave, grade 2 winner, grade 1 place, and we ended up selling her for close to $1 million after we raced her. But, good things happen to good people, and he treats people the right way. And I'll tell you what, Independence Hall, it's like the first couple of rounds of a golf tournament are in, and this horse is on the leaderboard. And can he stay there? Well, he's doing everything right, and being at Tampa, I think, is a good move. A lot of good horses have come out of these Tampa prep races. Street Sense comes to mind. So best of luck to him, Bob and Kathleen Verratti, their partners, and bottom line, Felix, is we are 83 days away, but you want to be where they're at with those precious points to get into the Kentucky Derby, and great card at Tampa as well. Really good race card there.
Let's break it down, and let's break this race down, because I want to see what you two guys think about the Sam Davis. It goes as the 11th race of a 12-race card at Tampa Bay Downs. It's a $250,000 grade 3 for 3-year-olds, going a mile and a 16th. Now, let me put this in perspective, because Tommy D, I don't know if you saw New Year's Day, Independence Hall's antics in the walking ring. It took 3 people to secure and saddle this colt. They got him to the gate, and he broke very, very slowly. He was off slowly, and then circled the field and won by 4.5. We'll be looking inside that walking ring prior to the Sam Davis today to see what type of behavior. Is he on his best behavior? Is he obedient? Has he sort of matured? But Aaron touched it right, hit the nail right on the head when he says this colt, and this is what I sense as well, this colt really knows what he is going to do. He's up against. He wants that attention, almost like a Zenyatta.
Yeah, I think we got the 2 questions right there. How's the, being all active, like you said? I did see the horse, and that's got to be concerned going in because it's using energy before the race.
Exactly.
And then the other question that we talked about was if he could go the 2 turns because it's never gone the distance. And, going around, the turns is another issue for this horse possibly. But, taking a look at this race, I do like Independence Hall's chances quite a bit today. I also like number 1, Ajaweed. This horse had high hopes. This is a Curlin sire, Curlin McLaughlin. Rosario's going out there to ride the horse. Finished second in the Remsen behind Shotsky.
Yep.
Shadwell Stables, 4-1. I think this one looks pretty interesting. I also like the 8, Chapelou. This horse won a grade 3 at Woodbine on the synthetic. As the favorite. It's off since the fall. So Delacour is the trainer there, 8-1. Maybe some outside horses. Those are a couple ones I like. But Independence Hall is the horse to beat here. 101 speed figure, 2 back. Winning by 12+ lengths. So this is a monster. And if it could keep the momentum going, which I hope it can, because we'd love to see our friends, the Varieties, and of course Aaron and the Eclipse bring this one home.
Yeah, without any doubt about that. Ajaweed, as you mentioned, slipped through the cracks here, which you said, ran second to Shotsky, which won last weekend back in New York. So that might be, did he run second?
Shotsky no, Shotsky maximum, let me get that correct. But yeah, Shotsky, I believe, came in second, yes.
Okay. But anyway, that was a real contentious race there where Shotsky came back to win the Withers last weekend. Okay, so he is on the board as well. Zapper, what do you think about
Max Player, I should have known that was my top choice. That horse won by 3 1/4.
That was pretty nice. That was your key selection on that Saturday here from Track Talk. What do you think, Zapper, in regard to the Sam Davis' 11th race, a mile and a 16, 3-year-old, a grade 3, 250,000?
Well, I think Aron Wellman wasn't kidding. This is a legit prep for a Derby prep, and for the prep for the say. It stands by itself. It's not just a prep for the Tampa Bay Derby. Ajaweed gets Rosario, and we're today Venetian Harbor for my group is 2-5 in a grade 2, and we had Rosario, and he chose to go to Tampa and ride the stakes in Tampa. And I think he went there mainly for this horse because he must have got good. His agent,
Ron Anderson.
Ron Anderson must have heard this horse was training like a bomb because here's the way this race breaks down, Felix. The Premier Star, the 6 horse, has been very impressive in 2 sprint races. He's going to be a legitimate forward factor, as should the 8 Chapelou. And that's going to create a situation where Independence Hall will probably sit about 3rd off of them, and he's going to maybe get the perfect trip, but he's going to have Ajaweed and the 2 horse. A horse I'm definitely using, that's Sol Volante. Very impressive winner of his first 2 races on grass. They went to the dirt last time at Gulfstream and for Patrick Biancone, and this son, even though he's by a turf sire, Caracante, he took the dirt no problem and was gobbling up ground in that Mucho Macho Man stakes, and looks like he wants the second turn, which he got 2 back at Gulfstream on turf. So where I think Independence Hall is the horse to beat, I think Ajaweed definitely is going to be a deep closer in the race. But Sol Volante, if I'm gambling on a race, I've got to gamble on number 2, Sol Volante, and play him with the 2 likely favorites because I think his 8-1 morning line, we're going to get all that. And believe me, this is the real deal. So 2 Sol Volante would be my gamble, my key. But Ajaweed and Independence Hall, 2-1-4 for me in a very nice race, the Sam Davis at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you got a lot of speed there with Luca Panici on number 2, Solo Volante. and the Sam Davis. Independence Hall is 6-5 morning line favorite. That's the 4 with Jose Ortiz. Joel Rosario, as Tommy D and Zapper brought to you, is on the 1, Aja Weed. Tough race there at Tampa Bay Downs. A lot of nice stake races going in there today. Let's move a little bit west, and we welcome you no matter where you are. The road to the Kentucky Derby brought to you by Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. We've just dived into the Sam Davis. Good luck to the varieties. Aron Wellman, Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, and Twin Creeks as they get ready for a big day down there, Tampa Bay Downs. All right. Not a lot of action going on right now, but there'll be a great line of action beginning at 12:30 today at Santa Anita as we take a look at this 9-race card. Would you grade the card, Tommy D?
I thought it was actually pretty good. I would give maybe a B. I thought there were some opportunities. I didn't see any major dead singles. Maybe find some spots and pick. I expect a lot of mid shots today.
All right. You guys have any races that you want to talk about in regard to this 9-race card? Is there one that jumped off the page to you, Tommy D?
I mean, I think there's a lot of challenging races that truly, jump off the page of me. But race 5, this is one of the big races today. I like number 2, Gingham, a little bit here. Bob Baffert won 2 out of his 3 starts at Santa Anita. All 6 races are at a mile plus, so going to be going a mile here at 6-1. We're going to hear from Zap, Venetian Harbor. This horse is the talk of the track, 2-5 coming in, and deserves it. Winning a maiden by 10 last time. Expects to be the speed, but we'll talk to Zap about that. And number 3, Chula Lips going turf to dirt here. This horse won 101K last time, out by 3 lengths. Harrington there seem interesting. And then, you got to look at Baffert, other horse, 37% off the bench here. That's number 5, Stellar Sound. But number 4, Venetian Harbor. This is a great race for fillies. That's going to be a good one. So, Zap, your thoughts, race 5. Let's get to it. Venetian Harbor.
Yeah, nice group of fillies here.
Venetian Harbor filly I purchased as a yearling, tried to sell at a 2-year-old sale and didn't get what we wanted, just like Verratti did. Verratti didn't get what he wanted at the Gulfstream sale. Well, we didn't get what we wanted at the April sale at OBS. We took the horse home, sold a piece of her privately to Nathan McCauley's River Oak Farm. And, when she lost first time out, we were a little disappointed, but she was gaining on the other Baltus that day. And everybody thought at the sale, I think, that we had a turf sprinter because there's a lot of that in the pedigree, but we thought we had a dirt horse or any kind of horse going short, long, and winning by 10.5 and galloping out a country mile ahead of everybody gave us all the desire to try her 2 turns. I mean, we show up today against what we considered Baffert's B team. I mean, Gingham has improved. She has won 2 races routing on this dirt track. So, she's got the experience around 2 turns, but we have something called brilliance. And, I've been interviewed by a few people about this filly, and they kind of look at me side. I guess they look at me funny because I start bringing up horses like Serena Song, Personal Ensign, and Winning Colors when I describe this filly. And I'm hoping today she does all the talking, and I can just sit back and relax and enjoy the show I think she's going to put on. So I think she's just going to crush this field. She's the speed of the race. She's got the mind for it. She's got the build for it. She's got the mechanics for it. Venetian Harbor to make it a huge day for my guys, Ciaglia and Savitas, and hopefully we'll be smiling in the winner's circle when it's done, Felix.
Yeah, good luck to you guys there. We talked about the road to the Kentucky Derby. Zapper, this would be the road to the Kentucky Oaks.
It would be. And we're just going to leave it at that. When I did Tom Quigley's show about a month ago, I said, I talked a little silly. I said, if we went off the screen in Las Virgenes, don't be shocked if you saw us in the Santa Anita Derby. But we'll just worry about today. If she does what I think she's going to do, we're going to have some tough decisions to make. But they're good decisions when you have to decide, do you ever want to run a filly against the boys? But this filly, she schooled magnificently yesterday, and you get a little nervous about this, like you asked Aron Wellman, but you also get excited. So I can't wait for today's 5th race and see what our filly can do.
Zap, sorry, Felix. Zap, I just want to ask real quick. I know you started this filly off on the turf. Is this something you might go back to, or is this filly much better on the dirt?
I think her maiden race and her 6 on the rag sheets and her, and her buyer of 94 being a 6.5 on this particular dirt, and the way she's trained all along at San Luis Rey, where it's just quieter. And she's coming into this race, Tommy T, with a 58 and 4 and a 112, and she went a mile in 37 and change after that 112. So if we go back to the turf, they're going to have to write the only time we talked about going back to the turf is if we ever get to go visit Royal Ascot and put on some top hat and tails. But I think we're going to stick to the dirt after what she did in her last race.
Tommy D, you know who's won this race? You know how the quality fillies that have won this race? What about Songbird? What about Unique Bella, Beholder, Stardom Bound, Rags to Riches?
Not bad.
I mean, Blind Luck, Excellent Meeting. Zapper brought Serena's song into the mix. What Light was owned by? You know who Light was owned by?
MC Hammer.
MC Hammer.
Can't touch us.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. Wait, Taylor. You can't touch this. As we go coast to coast on a Saturday morning. So good luck to Joe Ciagli and the partnership as well as you, Larry, and you deserve all the excitement. A couple of notes here that Kent DeSormo, as I think we might have mentioned last weekend on this radio program, I think I did, that now he is permanently going to be riding at Golden Gate up there in Northern California. Heriberto Figueroa and Nelson Arroyo have left California to go back to Kentucky at Turfway Park, conditioning Heriberto to ride at Keeneland. And so he'll also continue to make book for Jorge Velez. And I'll miss Nelson, but Nelson assured me he'll be back here at Del Mar. We are live on the WS Radio Network, the road to the Kentucky Derby on this Saturday. We are really, really getting busy here. It's 9:46. It's time for the Double T. Toby Terrell joins Track Talk along with Tommy D and Larry Zapp on the WS Radio Network. What's up, my man?
Hey there, Felix. Well, good news. Good news. We had a remarkably busy day here of workouts. Just kept on coming. It took me by surprise. Kind of took me by storm a little bit here, but very good to see. Very, very healthy work tab at Santa Anita, and good action-packed day in front of us, all abounds, all over the place, and Kentucky Derby implications on the line. And the big championship, of course, won last Sunday by the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll tell you, they just upped my airtime for next year, because I'll tell you, whenever I see the Kansas City Chiefs on any TV set, I will make sure I tune in to watch that sensational team and that sensational quarterback.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go to a game next year when the Chargers play the Kansas City Chiefs in that brand new stadium. Tommy D, Larry Zapp, you and I, we'll get a four spot of tickets. And Tommy D's really, really busy on the internet right now. Has showed me some disruptive news across the country, back in Pennsylvania, down at the fairgrounds and what have you. So you guys might want to go online and read about what's happening in the state of Pennsylvania as well, down in the Commonwealth in Louisiana at the fairgrounds. But fish to fry here. We got 5 maiden races, my man, on this card. I think we got 5. 1, 2, 3. Let's try 4 of them, okay? We got maidens back-to-back in the first and second. What's your cold deck daily double by Toby Terrell coming up here, race number 1?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, the first race, I do like the number 8 horse in here, Totally Tiger. Young Andy Lerner making a name for himself, winning races, and taking it on the chin with the CHRB. Speaking of keeping up on interesting articles and news events, Mr. Lerner's safety record is second to none right now, but some computer error or translation error or whatever made it look to the contrary. Kind of shocked young Andy, But with all that said, I think his horse in here, Totally Tiger, is spotted to win. Race number 2, I don't think is quite as simple. I think 3 horses are eligible to win this race. The 8 horse Dipping In for Doug O'Neill, who went out and took the world by storm by winning with his talented 3-year-old 4 Left back there in the Middle East. Almost won with Blitzkrieg. So Doug O'Neill worldwide himself. But Dipping In, the 8 horse, the 7 horse Rakasa, and the 4 horse Custom for Carl, the Jeff Mullins runner, 8, 7, and 4. Any one of those 3 wouldn't surprise me winning the second race. The 4th race, Miss Carla Gaines with Rocks and Salt for longtime racing enthusiast, musician, composer, writer extraordinaire, the Burt Bacharach. Here, I'd love to see those light blue silks in the winner's circle with the 3 horse Rocks and Salt. Then, Felix, I think we go all the way to the end. And the 9th race, number 7, Fengari for John Sadler, might be ready off a elongated, about a 2-year layoff. But this horse might be feeling good enough to win the finale.
When you say Burt Bacharach, I think of What's It All About, Elfie? Or Do You Know the Way to San Jose? Or Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Tommy D for Toby Terrell. You got anything to add to this great analysis brought to you by the one and only Toby Terrell?
Yeah, Toby, how you doing? Good to have you on as always. Race 7 is one that I just want to get your opinion on. And the Thunder Road Grade 3, 1 mile on the turf. True Valor trying to come back here, making an appearance back on the track, looking good. I kind of like number 5 here. Mike Smith gets the call for Wong. Turf going to dirt, 20%. 2 for 2 on the turf, this horse. That's number 5. But your thoughts on the Thunder Road, Grade 3? That's race 7.
Yeah, good race here. Pretty balanced field, and no doubt the best trip and the best ride and the best training job. We'll probably have to all execute all at once to get the winner home here. And by the way, Felix, you got to my favorite. Right at the tail end, I was waiting on it. The old raindrops keep falling on my head, and they are not falling here in Southern California in 2020. But with all that said, Jeff Mullins has River Boyne, I think, back to feeling good, and good enough, I think, Tommy D, maybe to win this race.
All right, Zapper, you got anything to add to the mix here on this Saturday on Track Talk?
Yes, same race. We're part of the Horse with Little Red Feather because we like partnerships. The Aglia I'm talking about, and that's number 2, the Hunted. This horse, huge race in November at Del Mar, and last race is Calbred Stake, no pace, kind of a bad situation, and not the best ride by Tiago Pereira, but we've got a new jockey today, Giovanni Franco, and I think he knows he's going to make one run with this horse, and this horse loves a mile. So very good value. Richie Balt is just lighting it up, mostly on turf, but he just might have to have a big day with Venetian Harbor and the Hunted today. So number 2, the Hunted for me, in this very wide open Thunder Road, Felix.
Yeah, without any doubt about that, as we zero in on Richie Baltus, he is running on all cylinders. B.J. Thomas, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, written by Burt Bacharach, won the Academy Award for the song of the movie, Butch and the Sundance Kid, going back to a real classic. We move forward here, and Toby, we had Aron Wellman on the radio program, Eclipse Thoroughbred partners, and our friend Bob and Kathleen Verratti. They got the big horse running today down at Tampa Bay, which is our sights, without any doubt about that. They have Independence Hall on the books here today, going in the 11th. Have you had an opportunity to eye up this race and give any analysis or thoughts about how you see this race developing?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, I want to wish our dear friends, Robert and Kathleen, hopefully another big win there in the Sam Davis, and keep this horse undefeated. He was put on a dazzling show for everybody there at Aqueduct. Quite a picture I saw of him leaping. I wish I had the measuring stick out. Leaping literally off the ground with all four legs, several feet in the air prior to the race. Hopefully feeling that good. But the number one horse in here, Ajoweed, Joel Rosario is leaving Southern California for this horse, evidently. He is that high on this horse. And the Kentucky Derby implications start to take a pretty good shape right about now. So I understand he's training strongly, and I think this is the horse to beat here for the aforementioned Independence Hall.
All righty. Well, it's going to be, as Aron Wellman said, Tommy D, this is going to be a heck of a horse race.
Yeah, interested to see how it plays out. Definitely probably the best race that Independence Hall had to face with some of this talent in this contest. But it's going to be a test, and if Independence Hall could show up and do it, people are going to keep talking about it.
Last Sunday, we were on this radio program. I like the Chiefs. Tommy D was on the Chiefs all for the last couple of years. He's Chief Eagle as his nickname. Just a great Super Bowl game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Very, very difficult if you're a 49er fan and holding a 10-point lead with 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go with the ball. I know I shared with my friend Chuck Knoll, former Pittsburgh Steelers coach. You'd have to take out his heart for him to lose that game. We have wrapped it up here. Thank you, Tommy D, as well as Larry Zapp, Toby Terrell, Wade Taylor producing and directing. I'm Felix Taverna, the road to the Kentucky Derby, brought to you by Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, as we focused in on one of their horses today. Independence Hall, owned by our friends Bob and Kathleen Verratti. Go get them. We'll see you in the winner's circle. Adios.
Have you tried DRF Formulator PPs at DRF.com? Take your handicapping to the next level with premium features not found in DRF Classic PPs, including one-click access to complete race charts, full-screen video replays with both standard and head-on views, add your notes for a card, horse, or trip, and access from any device. View Timeform US pace figures, get customized printing options, and so much more. Try DRF Formulator PPs today at drf.com/PPs.
Hi, everyone. Felix Taverna for Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. From down the street to across the country, if your move is too tough, you call Rough. That's my man, John Ruff, R-U-F-F, Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. Local or cross-country, military moves, corporate relocations, packaging, storage. They have it all in the Temecula Valley. That's roughandreadymoving.com. That's Rough and Ready, R-U-F-F, and readymoving.com. When you talk about San Diego legends, you got to talk about Big John at Tip Top Meats, a European delicatessen unlike anything in San Diego. It's located in Carlsbad, and traditionally, it's been a fan favorite for many. Big John does it right. With the holiday season just around the corner, it's your best bet. Big John, tip-top meats, and top-shelf fish. I mean, that's a daily double. You've been there, it's legendary.